The Frozen North, Episode 8, our top 5 games we wish we could finish.
Hello and welcome to Episode 8 of The Frozen North, your source for the best that story-focused gaming has to offer. My name is JJ, and I'm here alongside my two co-hosts, Mark.
Howdy, y'all.
And Brian.
Hey, we're back.
I don't think I'll ever, anytime you do that, I don't think I'll ever, be able to keep a straight face. I always, when I'm editing, I hear my voice shake. Every time he goes, howdy, y'all, I'm like, yeah, and Brian.
The Marc,
ridiculous.
Howdy, y'all.
It is becoming a staple. And you are like the farthest thing from who says howdy y'all? Is it like
Cowboys?
Cowboys?
Yeah, not
They
Indians.
really
They don't
Anyone
say
that wants to say it.
Indians say how.
Where did Indians come
Because
from?
cowboys and Indians. Welcome to
Ladies
episode
and gentlemen,
8, guys.
Brian.
Episode 8 of the Frozen North.
Yeah, keeping us on track here.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
All right. So man, episode 8. We're getting there.
man, we've been doing this for like 8 years. Is that
feel
how
like,
it works?
I feel like if we hit episode 10, we will have hit a milestone. We will have essentially made it.
Yeah, 10 episodes.
Yes, I
Double
can quit my
digits.
day job.
So
Yeah.
that's not what I mean.
I'm just gonna go ahead and sell all my possessions.
That's what I was
quickly.
planning on.
Maybe your night job. You can quit.
There we
Yeah.
go.
So
Nice.
You don't have to be a man of the night anymore.
awkward
There you have it.
silence.
And episode 8, guys. Here we are.
so-
Episode 8.
All right, from the top, what have you guys been playing? Brian, we'll start with you.
Okay. List of games I've been playing. I have been playing Skyrim. Still trying to beat that. I ran into a bugged quest, so it derailed me for a while. I had to go onto the internets and basically just figure out how to get past it. So doing that. Still kind of dabbling in Kingdom Hearts HD. I'm actually going to try to perfect the game. I got real close the last time I played it. I played it like 3 times. The last time I played it, I did everything except for the very last boss. For those of you who have perfected it, please email me on how to beat the Phantom boss. I can't. It doesn't seem possible. He's like the Phantom or the death guy. He has the big scythe.
The guy in Peter Pan's world.
The
right?
clock tower,
Yeah.
and he puts doom on you, and you have like a limited amount of time. I can't beat him, and so I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna level up to like level 90 or something, because like last time I was like at 70. But anyway, and then that's about it. I've been playing Uncharted on the Vita, trying to actually get some Vita games in there, and that's it.
Is that like an actual Vita game?
Sony's trying to get some Vita games in there too.
I know.
Hey-o.
Sony and Nintendo.
Mark?
I've been giving myself a little taste of Deus Ex and Bastion. I've actually beaten both multiple times, so I didn't need to completely play them. I've also been playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and Grand Theft Auto Online's just coming out, so I've been playing that a little bit as well. It's been having some issues with connectivity.
I was going to say, you actually got in? Because I couldn't.
First couple of days it wasn't working, but over the weekend it started working.
Oh, it's doing better now?
Yep.
I haven't tried it in a day or two, so.
It's pretty cool.
I've a lot of the same. Been doing a lot of Grand Theft Auto. I played a little bit of Kingdom Hearts HD, and a little bit of Final Fantasy 14. I raided a little bit with WoW, with my guild in WoW.
Wow.
And it was bad because my gear is so awful because I haven't played in a while.
Are you guys doing the new one, the Siege of Orgrimmar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all right.
Right on.
I'm like, honestly, the more I play it now, the more I think I'm kind of getting to that point where I'm just like
Done.
You know, it's just more the same every single
I hit
time.
that.
Literally, the only reason I'm playing is just to keep in touch with my friends. That's it. So, which isn't a bad thing.
No,
but it's
no.
like,
But you're hitting that point where I hit, where you're just like, I don't know why I'm playing anymore.
yeah. So, other than that, I'm still not done with Star Ocean 1. I'm trying to beat it, but I'm trying to grind and level up. And I got to this place where I keep getting wiped out. Like, I'll play for like a half hour, get some levels, save it, and I'll go in for another half hour, and I'll die. And I'll be like, yeah. So I'll have made a little bit of progress, but then I'll have to restart again, so I'll stop playing, and then I'll wait 2 days, and then I'll be like, okay, that's enough time. I'll go back again and try it again, and then that happens again.
Yeah.
So once I start going back to the main story, I think I'm almost done with it anyways. So good game though. Cool. Well, that's it. I guess with that, we'll move into our first review. We're going to be talking about Deus Ex, developed by Ion Storm. Mark, why don't you give us a noise that represents the future that we don't know technologically and, spy stuff?
Okay, so you went future spy stuff, and you went with Morse code.
Yeah. I don't.
Sorry.
All right then.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? It works.
It
It's
works.
all right. It's a
You
noise.
know what? I'm going to go ahead and say
And that's
okay.
all we need. Absolutely.
I'm going to approve.
I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. I'm actually, both games that we're going to be doing today, I'm going to have to pretty much kind of step back because I have not played either one of these, in my mind, enough to do any sort of solid review. I've played a little bit of each, but I didn't get into them that deep, so I'm not going to give a yay or nay on either one of them, but you guys are going to take the reins on this one. Mark, why don't we start with you?
All right, so we're talking about Deus Ex, the classic first-person shooter RPG crossover from Ion Storm. This was one of my all-time favorite games. It's got that classic choice-driven gameplay that Ion Storm's famous for, from lead designers Warren Spector and Harvey Smith.
Oh.
You'll know them. They started their careers at Origin, the guys behind Ultima Online, all of those games, Wing Commander. Then they came over to Ion Storm and kind of created this whole genre, starting off with System Shock, as I'm sure some of you are familiar with.
I have heard of that, yeah.
It's got choice-driven gameplay. You can choose to sneak into facilities, go through vents, climb onto the top of a building, and come in through the roof. You can hack a computer terminal and open all the doors. Turn turrets against each other, all that good stuff.
That sounds exactly like System Shock, kind of that whole model.
Yeah, exactly. It's also got an awesome plot involving government conspiracy. Kind of takes a lot of the popular conspiracy theories that some weird people believe, and creates a cohesive narrative out of it. So, one of my favorite games. Brian?
I never actually played the first Deus Ex, so I've only played the very new one, so I'm going to have to also defer to you on this. I've tried to play it, but as I have a problem with a lot of older games, I have to really have a nostalgia.
Yeah, it does. Like the graphics and
That's what I'm
the
saying.
gameplay do
Like,
not hold up well.
But I mean, generally speaking, no old games graphics hold up well, and I have to be in a real nostalgia factor mode to like get into it. And a while back, I tried to play Deus Ex. Like I think I bought all of them on Steam, and I was just like, I'm not ready to play through a game that is this rough. So go ahead, Mark, and give us some more about Deus Ex.
Right. I guess it came out in 1999 or 2000. I'm not sure exactly, but around there. So just right on the heels of the original Half-Life. So it's not really a shocker to me that it doesn't look very good.
Right.
But it doesn't look very good. It looks really bad.
Well, it looked great when it came out.
Yeah. It did when it came out, yes. When I tried to play it this most recent time, though, I was also struck by how bad it looked.
Right.
There are some graphic mods out there. Thanks to my awesome Time Warner internet, I didn't have a chance to download and install it, but there are some options. I also wanted to say, as another con, in the post 9/11 world that we live in now, some of the conspiracy theories and overall plot come off as a little over the top.
Right. Well, what do you think? If somebody's like, "Hey, Mark, should I play this game?" What would you say to them?
I would say if you want to continue on with the series, and they are continuing to make more of them since the most recent one did pretty well, go ahead and grab it if it's on sale. Get that graphics mod going and have a good time.
So the two are connected?
Sort of. There's some
Oh, so you
threads that
could
are
jump
connected.
right into the new one without playing the first
You don't
one.
need it. It's
The new
it's
one-
a prequel, and there's just some little things dropped in there.
The new one's a prequel to the first one.
Gotcha.
And then there was one that came out on what? Was it the original Xbox? Called Deus Ex
Talking about Invisible War.
Invisible War, yes.
Yeah, Invisible War's a little better looking, and it's also some people were down on it, but I thought it was good.
Okay.
Interesting. Well, moving on to our next game, Bastion.
A little indie game action for y'all.
Yep, developed by Supergiant Games. Again, this is another one that I've literally played maybe half hour of this game, and that's it. So again, I'm not gonna comment one way or the other because I don't know enough about it. It seemed, from what I have played, it was very beautiful. For one, I will say that, And I think like for people who like the type of game that it is, it's hard to explain because it's very unique from anything else I've ever played before. You really have to like just go look at a video or something, or a review or something like that, and you'll actually like see kind of how it looks and how the game plays. I think if you're into that kind of stuff, it's worth checking out, at least from what I played so far. But again, I mean, I definitely have not played enough to say, oh, it's awesome, you got to check it out for sure, or no, it sucks, you don't play it. So, again, we will start with you guys. Brian, why don't we start with you?
Okay, so I think JJ was looking for, it's an isometric view game. It's got the isometric camera angle.
Right.
Diablo.
That's all you had to say. That's
Okay,
it.
anyway.
I'm looking at you like isometric.
Isometric,
totally.
that's
That
a
means-
word.
It's like
Yeah.
take the view of a game like Pokemon and rotate it 45 degrees.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's your typical isometric game. Plays a little bit like a Zelda or in fact, kind of like a Diablo, what have you. Some of its pros, beautiful game. The art direction and the voice acting are excellent. The narrator alone is, top notch. And if you're like me, you have to get into the mindset of, okay, I'm going to play an indie game. You know it's an indie game, so you're not expecting AAA budget. So you're like, I'm going to go ahead and give it the benefit of the doubt on some of its shortcomings based on the fact that I know it's not a huge team working on it. So a lot of the pros aren't going to be in the cons section because there are a lot of cons that I won't have.
I would imagine a lot of the pros aren't going to be in the cons section. You're right. That would
make sense.
There are a lot of
That would make
cons
sense.
that if for a AAA title come out, like I'm just trying to explain to you how I'm going to do this review. I'm not giving a biased review at all, but some of the cons you would put in the con section for like AAA games aren't going to be there because you're like, this is like a small, very intimate team, and so okay, if the worlds aren't completely fleshed out and all this craziness, then I'm going to be like, oh no, I'm going to give that the benefit of the doubt is all I'm saying. So we'll go ahead.
you have to take it for what it is.
That's exactly right. Like you have to say, hey, I'm going to play this indie game, and I know it's an indie game, so I'm not expecting like a $2 million budget for this game, so I'm going to go ahead and give it the benefit of the doubt in some categories. But my pros are voice acting. The gameplay is great. Like I said, it's if you like Diablo or Zelda, the old Zelda games, you're going to get right into it. Voice acting, top notch. Story, top notch. For my pros, why don't we go over to Mark for his pros?
Sure. I'm trying to remember the voice acting. Besides Rux, was there any other voice acting?
Yeah,
I guess Zia does sing.
Yeah.
She sings a song.
I guess Rux is really it's the narrator.
They definitely found a really awesome narrator in Rux.
Yep.
I also think this is a pretty fantastic game. It comes off as deceptively simple when you first start playing it.
Right.
You get a selection of weapons, you go and you kill enemies and you work your way through a mission. So it seems simple, but then you start upgrading the weapons and getting new weapons to choose from. And you have to choose 2 weapons before you go on a mission. So you kind of have to figure out what you want to set yourself up for beforehand. Also, as you upgrade the weapons, you have to make a choice between 2 different types of upgrades.
Right.
So you can really kind of customize yourself.
It's actually quite a deep game.
Yeah.
In the end.
And once you work your way into the plot a little bit more, it does start to really engage you.
Sure.
Although not necessarily right at the beginning. So.
Right.
All right.
Well, I'll get onto my cons here. It doesn't have many for me, but I'm going to go ahead and put some cons in there that I normally wouldn't for this game, just so if you're not a huge indie game fan, I'm going to forewarn you. It's an indie game, guys, so keep in mind that they don't have a whole lot of time to make every level and world vastly different. There aren't a lot of enemy variations. I think you'll be fighting like the same 5 or 6 the whole game. If I think Mark, is that right? I think it's like 5 or 6.
It's
roughly.
probably about 10.
Yeah, but you're not going to get much variation. The levels,
It's not a lot.
right? The levels they generally look the same. They're kind of like floating. I'll put that in the con section for somebody who's looking for a bigger game. But for me, that's not a con because I get that it's not going to be ridiculously diverse. They don't have. I mean, they spent more of their time on story and voice acting. So put that as a con. There are some gameplay cons I didn't like. I didn't like all those mini games you had to do to upgrade your upgrade your weapons and stuff.
Yep.
Put that into the game. Don't make me go to the separate little world, do a little mini game like 50 times to try to get the top one. It just takes you out of the experience. So that was another one of my cons. There's tons of mini games for each weapon that give you like upgraded stuff. I ended up skipping a lot of them because I don't even want to do it. What about you, Mark?
I thought there were some sort of minor balancing issues when you first start working your way through the first missions in Caelondia. There's a certain part where you kind of get trapped in this area, and it's this kind of put-on situation you have to fight your way out of that I think is a little too hard for the beginning of the game. Also, the plot, like I said earlier, doesn't really engage you from the start. You have to kind of wait for it to come out and give you something to grab onto. So if you're not going to give it an hour and a half, you're not going to enjoy it.
Oh, man. No wonder.
And also, it is short. It's like, I think I beat it in about 7 hours. So,
yeah.
But given the price, that's actually not that bad.
And that's what I want to talk about when here's how I'm going to recommend indie games. If you enjoy indie games, short little one-offs, I call them, that you just want to get through them real quick, they're fun. As indie games go, this is an A+ indie game. It's among the top of the heap. However, if you're somebody who doesn't like indie games and you still want to check it out because you heard it's good, I would give it maybe a B- C+, as if it was to be in the same category as all games. I would say it's a C+, B-. Go just check it out. Try playing it for a little bit and see what you think. But if you love indie games, you have to try this one out for sure.
Yep, I agree. Go ahead and grab that. It's a good value for the amount of entertainment hours you get out of it. So
we should probably mention that both of these games, both Bastion and Deus Ex, you can get on Steam pretty cheap at this point. Right. Yeah. So, and I mean, during the Steam sale, shoot, sky's the limit. They're extremely cheap.
I'm pretty sure they've both been on indie bundles at some point or another too.
Yeah,
so
for sure. All right. Well, that takes care of our reviews then for episode 8. With that, let's go into our top 5. Our top 5 games we wish we could finish. Brian, why don't you give me a noise that showcases the frustration of not being able to finish a game because of every reason imaginable.
Come on!
Pretty solid.
I think I got all of them in there.
That was nice.
Yeah.
That definitely covers my top 5.
Right.
That's for sure. Okay. Well, like I said, we're doing our top 5 games we wish we could finish. These aren't games that like all these games we have different reasons for not finishing them. It's not like we just didn't like these games or something came up or something. I mean, it's literally a combination of everything. Especially my top 5, I know for sure.
On most of these games I loved, and I just for some reason or another I just haven't been able to finish them yet, due to which we'll get into and we'll explain. So sit tight.
I'm going to go ahead and start off since you guys got a bunch talking out of the way.
Just you talk for a minute.
Sounds good.
My number 5 game that I wish I could finish is The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
Ooh, man.
I think it is an awesome game. I really do. I like it. I enjoy it every time I play it. The only problem is that when I start playing it, like I think a lot of it is because with a lot of new games, especially like Skyrim and Oblivion, other games in the series, obviously, they hold your hand a lot more. And Morrowind, it really, really depends on the player to do a lot of the work. What I mean by that is like, you'll start playing, you'll get a quest, and you'll be like, all right, sweet, I got this quest. And you'll get another quest. Then you'll get another quest. And you're like, all right, well, I've got 4 or 5 quests in my book. So you start going through, and there's no organization to your quest log whatsoever. It literally just gives you a paragraph of what happened on that first one. Then it'll give you another paragraph of what happened on the second one. Won't separate them out for you or anything like that. You literally will have to hunt, go back through your journal page by page and try to figure out what you were supposed to be doing from this first quest. Won't tell you where to go on your map. It'll just tell you names of places. And I mean, it's just so disorganized, and it's really hard to follow what you're supposed to do. The presentation, the game, the skills, the monsters, the environments, beautiful, incredible. But I can't finish it because every time I do, I get so lost, and I'm like, I don't even remember what the heck I was doing.
Right.
And
I remember that.
That's why I couldn't finish that game.
It's one of the few games I used a guide on.
It's kind of like the issue with all of the Elder Scrolls games, but taken to the extreme.
Well, yeah, but in the in Skyrim and Oblivion, it gives you map markers where you're supposed to go, so you can follow that. You can also choose which quest you want to be on, which technically you can do with the other one, but it still doesn't give you any organization as to what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it also separates all your quests out for you and gives you the new text right next to the old text, so you can just see from beginning to end what you're supposed to do. So I mean, there's just a lot of disorganization as far as the quest logs and everything, and that's why I couldn't finish that one. Brian, you're number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Final Fantasy IX. Good old Zidane and company. I think I've started it maybe 3 times. This last time I played it, I have it on Sony Virtual Console, obviously from the market. This last time I played it, there's a gauntlet of bosses at the very end. If anybody's beat it, you know what I'm talking about, where it's consecutively. You don't get a chance to heal up, mana up, anything. It
sounds like a JRPG.
It's just boss after boss after boss, and they each get harder and harder and harder. I like to play JRPGs and RPGs in general. I like to play without a guide the first time through, at least. I know I'm not going to perfect it, but I just feel like when you play with a guide, you're kind of spoiling the game for yourself as you're playing, because you're like, I know how, you don't get that sense of like wonderment and awe. But that's also my downfall in a lot of games, because I couldn't beat there was a dragon in this gauntlet that I could not get past. So I was like, fine, I broke down. I was like, I just want to get through this game. I'm this close. I want to get it, check it off my list. I'll go look online. I was like, oh yeah, hopefully you level up this skill throughout the game with this weapon so that she can have it, so she can cast it on your party. Didn't have it. Don't even remember how to get it. So I was like, oh my goodness, so I had planned on I benched the game, and I planned on going back. I had the save file. Planned on going back after a while and grinding it, but I ended up losing the save file, so I'm gonna have to replay it again. And hopefully this time I'll just go through a guide. And
you're not gonna. I mean, I'll tell you right now, you're not gonna find the most deep ending and totally gratifying everything. But it's a great game. It's just fun.
I just want to check it off my list.
Sure.
It was a fun game all the way up through it, and that last part just really sidelined me. And they were like, "Oh yeah, this boss is really easy. You just gotta have this that you learned back when you were like level 10." And I'm like, "Oh, I did not learn that." So that was my reason for not finishing Final Fantasy IX. Mark,
all right. My top 5 is Fatal Frame 2. First, I want to preface this by saying
your top 5 is Fatal Frame 2.
Sorry, my number 5.
Oh, God, okay.
My number 5. No, all 5 of them are Fatal Frame 2.
It's like he really wants to beat that game.
I want to preface this by saying JJ and I have nerves of steel, as I've discovered from all the time we've spent playing Amnesia together.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. No, we're cowards.
Yes.
We had to have my girlfriend play most of it. Fatal Frame 2 is also a very scary game.
Is that the one we played at the lake?
It might be. Did it take place in a house or in like a whole village?
Village.
That's the second one, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So it's an extremely scary game, which I already just don't deal with very well. I don't want to hold the controller. I just want to throw it down and stop playing all the time. Add to that the fact that it's actually a pretty confusing game. Yep. It's sending you all over the village constantly. You don't know if you've missed some clue. You don't know if you're supposed to move forward with the quest yet. So you're running all over the place, getting the crap scared out of you, crying to yourself.
You got to use a camera to hit the ghost at the right time.
Yep.
And like they have those ones that aren't killable, and so you just have to run.
Oh. There was that one room, remember?
Yep.
You had to go through that room with the unkillable ghost.
Yeah.
And you could just hear it screaming at you as you get out the other side.
Man, that game was terrifying. That was like 12 years ago, something like that, maybe even more.
Yeah, it's a pretty old game.
Jeez.
But I still think it offers something unique and interesting about the survival horror genre. And I wish they'd go back to it. But
I still have it. We should totally one day revisit it and make your girlfriend beat it.
Yes, I like that idea. That's a great idea.
I like that.
Maybe she'll actually understand what's going on too. So that's my number 5.
All right. My number 4 is The Legend of Legaia.
I watched my brother play that one.
Man, shocker. You don't even need to say that anymore. Everybody just assumes it with every game anyways. You may as well just start saying the games that you've played.
I have, right.
This game is great. Oh, that means you didn't play it. The Legend of Legaia, I like anytime I bring this game up, if somebody has heard of it or played it, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's pretty good. I really liked it." I don't see it. I don't see the attraction. Like I liked the story to a certain extent. I sort of like the gameplay to a certain extent, but I've tried to beat this game like 5 or 6 times, and I always get to like the same area where it's a huge. I hate when games do this, where they have like this huge spike in either difficulty or where you need to get new gear, or just something where you have to grind in order to be prepared to go on to the next area. And you would think the rest of the game, like leading up to that, would help you do that, provided you spend a little bit extra time in each area. But no, it doesn't. And I also hate the ability and magic system in this game. I hate that you have to absorb the magic abilities from enemies from killing them, because it's not a guaranteed thing. So you could go into a battle and you kill a guy with one of your characters and get the ability right away. It's like, oh, sweet, cool. Got that quick. I'll do it with the other 2 characters right now. Do it with another character, boom, right off the bat, and you get it again. It's like, oh, sweet, awesome. Got it with both of those. Just one more. Go in there, you're sitting there for the next 2 hours just trying to get this one stupid skill. Ability, and it doesn't work. I mean, it's so inconsistent, and I hate that. I like being able, like, I like it very structured. I like being able to know what I'm getting into and, see it. Pretty much the exact opposite of what you were saying before about strategy guides. I mean, I play a game just for the story. I like to be as prepared as possible to move on to the next part of the story.
Can I counter that by asking you, I mean, when you're looking at a strategy guide and you turn the page and it's like, boss battle, here's what the boss looks like, you're like, you already know that's coming. Like, doesn't that ruin it a little bit for you?
I don't flip ahead, though.
But I'm saying you have to read ahead to find out what you can't just read. I mean, you're reading ahead to see what you have to do next. It's like, oh, you'll come up to this part and this will be a boss. Like, I don't know. Doesn't it ruin a little bit for you?
It depends. I mean, like, I have yet to use any guides that have been over the top total spoilers.
Okay.
And if there are, then the guide usually warns you first.
All right.
It just doesn't bother me.
I mean,
there's just nothing there.
I don't know why. Maybe I had a guide back in the day that ruined a game for me, because I won't use a guide for my first playthrough. Now my second, third playthrough, I will use the guide because I usually like to go back and 100% them. But my first playthrough, I like to kind of fumble around, and it hurts me every now and then, as you can see with Final Fantasy IX. But
most of the time, I just like, if there's something that is huge that I don't want to miss, I'll use a guide. But if there's like puzzles and stuff like that, I really like to try to figure those out on my own. I won't use a guide for that. It's more of a security blanket than anything else.
Right.
But I did have one for this game, and there's just a point in this game where you get to a part where you are under geared. You can't go forward without getting new gear, and you literally have like no money, and you have to grind to get money, but the battles give you barely any cash at all. And I just get there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to be here for like the next 4 days trying to just kill stuff, and I just like, what's the point? I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I would love to finish this game one day just to be like, done, finished, never have to open it up again. But every time I look at it, I'm like, I still haven't beaten you yet. So it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
So, and it's not the greatest game in the world, contrary to what some other people might say.
Right.
But yeah, so that's my number 4, The Legend of Legaia. Brian.
My number 4 is the Xeno universe, and let me explain real quick. The Xeno universe includes Xeno Saga, Xeno Gears, and Xenoblade Chronicles. It's funny, that series would probably make my top 5 series of all time. I've played Xeno Saga, the first Xeno Saga, episode 1. I've played maybe 20 hours into that one. That's about it. But I'm a huge
douche.
False. Close. I'm a huge dude that likes Gundam Wing was one of my favorite anime series, so I like the whole mech suit.
Sure.
I used to play Mech Warrior back in the day. I'm shocker, but I watched my brother play a little bit of Xenogears and looked amazing. And then obviously the trailer just came out for the X game. Yep. I mean, just the whole universe really intrigues me. I just for some reason haven't played any of them yet. Like I just haven't. I don't know why. This is one of the mysteries to me. Like I have Xenogears ready to go on PlayStation Network. Just haven't played them yet. Just haven't done it. I don't know why, but I'm going to. You mark my words. I'm on my journey. So by 2047, I shall be
On Final Fantasy 2.
on Final Fantasy 3.
There you have it.
Give me, I'm giving myself credit. I'm gonna be on Final Fantasy 3.
I told you, man. You better next June, if we're still rocking with this show,
We will be.
we're doing a Final Fantasy 6 special for my birthday.
I'll be there.
You better be there.
I'll be there, and I'm also gonna get you a present for your birthday.
That's sweet.
Yeah,
All right.
because we're friends.
I hope it's a plushy Moogle.
No, it's gonna be an.
Is that what you want?
No. Mark and I have hired the best scientists in the world, and we are going to make actual Magitech armor.
Oh, that'll be cheap.
Will be.
Yeah, totally.
It will be.
Yeah. All right.
It better be.
Right.
And I would like to say that you should definitely finish Xeno games for sure.
I don't
'Cause
know
they're
why
awesome.
I haven't played them. They intrigue me so much, but I just I don't know if I'm it's like a daunting task, but I'm going to get with it.
Just play one. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Play Xenogears,
I'm going to get with it.
and that's it.
Yeah. All right.
Mark, you're number 4.
My number 4 is the Metal Gear Solid series. As you guys all know, I love frustrating games. Those are my favorite kind of games. So obviously, I love Metal Gear Solid, right? The classic stealth action game where you're sneaking around on oil rigs, trying to get past guards without the exclamation part popping up. Words.
That's the only one that I've beaten. Is the oil
first
rig
one?
The oil rig one. That's the second one.
Isn't an oil rig in the first one as well?
And there might
No.
be.
No.
Ooh,
It's just in the
bam.
Arctic.
The first one, it takes place, Metal Gear Solid takes place in Alaska.
On an oil rig?
No.
What does he do in the freaking oil rig?
That's
I remember you climb up out of the ocean and you sneak into some base.
it's an Alaskan base, but it's not an oil rig. Big Shell is the oil rig in number 2.
Yep.
So, yeah, I've played each of the games, some, but they're really frustrating. They're awesome, don't get me wrong. I love reading about the plot and seeing what it's about. But have you played the third one, Brian?
I have not. Okay, I've beaten 1, 2, 4. I watched my brother beat 3, so I know about it. I think I've played 3 a little bit because I remember beating the sniper boss. But
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. The end. That boss battle
Yeah.
sums up why I hate the series.
actually, you know what? I might have beat 3. I just remember my brother playing it before me, and I watched him beat it. But I mean, I can tell you
Yeah.
about it. It's good.
So, like, in Metal Gear Solid 2, remember when you're sneaking around on top of the oil rig and Raiden's helping you out and there's a time limit?
Yeah,
You are
Remember
right.
in the third one when there's a time limit?
yeah.
And remember in the first one when there was a time limit?
So you don't like time limits?
I don't like the unnecessarily frustrating game
So you
design
don't like-
they force
so
into all their games.
So this. Hi, my name is Mark. I don't like challenge.
Correct. I don't like challenge. I'd like to play the games and get a taste of the plot. And
I
all
like
that.
to be able to plan out what
but-
I'm doing rather
yeah.
than being rushed. I feel the same way.
I don't
agree.
like to be rushed. I want to go and explore everything and
I understand.
not pull my hair out.
All right.
Totally.
Looks like a cool game series. Haven't been able to finish any of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
hear
kind of how I am with Xeno Saga and all that.
Show enough.
All right, JJ, let's move on to your number 3.
Number 3. My number 3 is Xenoblade Chronicles.
Ooh.
Unlike Brian, I have beaten all the other Xeno games that are out. This one I wouldn't even really consider it as part of the.
It has the same
others.
art style though, and I really like it.
Sure, but
You know,
it's
right.
not like.
I get it.
Yeah, you play the others and you'll be like, yeah, different. Okay,
Is it supposed to be part of the same?
no,
It's in the same universe.
is it?
Yes, but it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with the other.
Yeah,
But it's in the Xeno universe.
I've played probably about, I'd say, a good 15 hours in or so. So I mean, I've played a nice chunk of it and I liked it. There's so many side quests.
A
It's
ton.
insane. And it's a beautiful game. The environments are great. My problem with it, and this is gonna get me some hate and some
Yep.
thrashing because I've already seen some praise for this on our Facebook page. I do not like the voice acting in that game at all. They all talk like this, and it's not. I mean, they sound like the peasants from Warcraft 2.
Right.
They're just like, oh, that guy's so dumb, because the way he talks, and it's like, just English accent, great. I mean, you can sound super intelligent, and it really adds a lot of flavor to it. But I mean, they use the just like I like soccer English accent.
They're
you know,
soccer hooligans.
Right.
And to me, I'm just like, I just want to turn off the voice acting, and I don't even care about voice acting most of the time in games. There have been 2 games where the voice acting has really bothered me. This one and Baten Kaitos for GameCube, and I won't even go into that one. Oh my gosh. But I really, really loved playing this game, but every time somebody opened their mouth, I was just like, oh my gosh, shut up. No more, please. And I mean, I know that's a stupid reason for not finishing it, but it literally, like, I just got to the point where I was like, I can't listen to this today anymore, so I'm going to turn the game off, come back to it later, and then I just never did.
Yeah, sure.
So, and now I'm at the point where it's like, well, I already did so much in that game, but I don't remember how to play it exactly, so I can't go back and jump right in, but at the same time, I don't want to start over from the beginning, and blah, blah, blah. So I think with a little more time, eventually we'll probably do a review for it. I'll jump back in and start from the beginning again. So I know I'll get to it eventually, because this is one game that I definitely want to beat. But right now, that's on my list. My number 3, Xenoblade Chronicles. Brian, and you know, I should also mention, this is our first top 5 that we've done where we don't have any overlap at all.
Yeah, this is awesome.
We're
all going to get different flavors here.
15 different games on here, so pretty sweet. Brian, you're number 3, and I want to slap you for this one.
My number 3 is Final Fantasy IV. So I played this game. Actually, this is one of the first RPGs I ever played. Obviously, it was called Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I think we rented it, actually. If I remember correctly, when we were very young, we'd go to the video stores and we'd rent games.
Yeah, that's a thing that people used to do.
Yeah, we used to rent.
Yeah.
My mom would say, hey, let's go rent a couple games. So this is when we rented. And I was just talking to JJ before our podcast. I was like trying to remember where I was in that game. Because like I said, it's been, 20, 15, 18, one of those years. It's been in that 18. I'd say
Long
18
time.
18 to 17 years. And so I was having trouble remembering. I said, I think I was in the the hovercraft, and so I just want to go back. I want to beat it. It was, it's very nostalgic to me because it was one of the first RPGs. Cecil and Kain, obviously, are really sweet characters.
For those of you who have played Final Fantasy IV, when he says he got the hovercraft, he's not far.
No.
At all.
No.
Man, when he told me he hasn't even become a paladin yet, whew.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I think Cecil was still in his dark armor when I was playing. I don't
so
remember. Like I
great.
said, I could have gotten further, but it's just been so long. And it's one of those games I've been wanting to play for a long time. For a long time, though, it was unavailable to play just because I didn't want to go out and buy a Super Nintendo and buy it. So, but now it's on all the virtual consoles, and they remade it recently. So I'll be picking that up and playing it for sure.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mark?
My number 3 is Shadow of the Colossus.
Ooh, good game.
Yes, it's a very good game.
Well, at least one of us thinks so.
Incredible music.
2 of us.
Amazing art style. A really interesting take on video games. But, and you guys are going to hate me for this, I can't stand the PlayStation controller.
Why?
I don't know. I just have it in my hand and I feel really stupid. I feel like I don't know how to use it.
Well,
See,
that's a classic. I mean, but
that's funny because every time I listen to what happens inside of a Microsoft Xbox's headphones, I feel stupid.
What are these headphones?
The headphones that you put on? You listen to Xbox Live?
Oh, I don't do that.
That's when I feel stupid.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
Well,
I'm not. Oh, well, hold on. I'm not a Microsoft fanboy. I don't like the PlayStation 3 controller. Or PlayStation 2 controller. Any of them, really.
sure.
I love some of their exclusives, but this isn't supposed to be about a console war. This is just about.
We're trying to figure out why you didn't finish Shadow
I
of the
understand.
Colossus.
I suffered from a massive case of button confusion at a constant basis during playing that game, and the ridiculous multitasking in some of the missions where you have to ride on your horse, stand up, aim at the guy, pull back on the bow and shoot him so you can get him to come down low enough so you can jump off your horse onto him. And it's like, oh my god, what button am I pushing? And I'm just messing everything
Climb
up.
all the way to the top,
start
screw
all
up,
over again.
fall down, start all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks.
I loved that game. I was good. I got through that game relatively quickly. The last boss kind of slowed me down, but slam bam, thank you, man.
Awful.
Boom.
Awful.
Brian is a professional Shadows of the Colossus player. If I will be signing autographs at your local bookstore near you, so come in and I'm not going to be doing
Do you
that.
ever listen to yourself just talk?
What I do is
Oh.
I say words, and then and then at some point I wish I could bring them back, but I can't. They're already out there.
I think Brian should just beat the game for me.
I'm a professional.
Ask his brother.
No, this is one that I played. See,
Did you
this is-
actually?
Hey, this is one that I beat, and then my brother bought the HD collection recently, and I told him how great the game was. He had the same reaction JJ did. He goes, the game was stupid.
He knows. He knows
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
What is wrong with these people?
I don't know. They have bad taste.
They know good games.
No.
You know what? No, I mean, looking at all the reviews and everything, I know that it's a very well received game and stuff, and it's gorgeous. You can't deny that.
Right.
It's absolutely beautiful for the time and everything. But
Yeah.
God, I just hate having to start all over every 2 seconds. It's just
Agreed.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No
Some
way.
of it's pretty uneven how much difficulty there was between the different colossi.
Yeah, they ramped up pretty difficult. Like the flying one that took me a while to figure out.
That serpent that comes out of the ocean, that
Yeah.
one actually wasn't that hard for me, but it looked
looks
terrifying at
different.
first.
Yeah.
But
Man,
yeah, I just can't. I can't do it. I loved it, but I couldn't do it
right on.
Cool.
because I don't like challenge.
Shadow of the
Yeah,
Colossus.
that's what we've learned.
Mark's
JJ
number
and Mark
3.
don't like challenge.
I like story. I like to get through it.
They
I'm
just like
sorry.
the easy cakewalk. I guess it's my thing is like I'll play a game on normal. Like I'll never play on easy, but I also don't consider playing on hard just because I feel like you're playing on what the developers made the game for, normal.
I would totally play on easy like 9 times out of 10. However, most of the time if you play it on easy, there's a lot of games that don't include everything on
Right.
that difficulty level, which
Right.
is why I don't.
Exactly.
So, okay then. My number 2. You had to have seen it coming if you've listened to this show before, because they make fun of me for not playing through both of them yet. The
Tisk, tisk.
Half-Life series is my number 2.
Oh man, big one.
I know, and to be honest, I don't have a good excuse for not playing.
You're
this
kind of like
game.
with mine with my Xeno.
Yeah.
Like you just don't know why you haven't played it. You just
I
haven't.
don't. I just haven't.
Yep.
I mean,
I can understand.
I start playing the first one. Granted, I have not even tried the second one because I want to beat the first one first.
Sure.
I start playing through the first game, and then I'm just like, it's okay. And then I just stop. And then I don't play anything else because, there's something shiny that I saw.
Sure.
And it pulled me away from it. I don't have a solid excuse for why I haven't played these games. I need to. I know I should because I know they're classics. I know they're beloved and all that stuff, but I just haven't finished them.
Understandable.
Simple as that. So
My fear is that we've given you so much flack and you've heard so much about them over the years that when
It's
you
not gonna
finally
live up
do,
to it.
yeah,
yeah, and you know what? The longer I wait, the more that's probably going to be true.
Sure.
To
Yep.
be honest. So
Well,
I
don't
don't know.
worry. You've probably got 46 more years before Half-Life 3 is finally confirmed.
yeah, you've got time.
Yeah. So don't worry about it.
All right, Ryan, you're number 2.
Okay, guys, my number 2 is Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Kingdom Hearts, one of my most beloved series of games. I think I have played all of them except for 2 of the handhelds, which is the 376/2 days or whatever.
Yep.
But I have the HD collection now, so I will be getting to at least experience the story in that because I think I have all the cutscenes in there. I don't think I've played Coded either, Recoded. But like I said, I'll be getting to that as well. But the reason Dream Drop Distance is on my list and those others aren't is because this one kind of furthers the story towards 3, and it looks amazing. And I don't have a 3DS.
I was going to say,
Well,
biggest reason is probably because you don't have the system that it's on.
and I haven't had a reason to buy the system yet, but JJ and I are going to be playing Pokemon X and Y.
Oh, looks so
And
awesome.
So
too.
I'm going to go ahead and just bite the bullet and purchase that 3DS,
Good
go
for
along
you.
with my Vita, and then that way, hey, I'll get Pokemon and a little Dream Drop Distance. And like I said, super fanboy with Kingdom Hearts. I'm a huge Disney geek, and I'm also a big Final Fantasy geek. So it's like, take 2 things you love, put them together, and what do you got? You got Kingdom Hearts awesomeness.
Bam.
Bam, bam, bam.
Mark, number 2.
My number 2 is
I wanna
Final
slap you.
Fantasy 7.
How have you not finished 7?
Unbelievable.
I'm going to get a lot of hate mail for this one.
Yes, I'm already writing you a hate mail right now.
I like the game. It looks really cool. I love, all the stuff that happens in Midgar. It's Midgar, right? Not Midgard.
It's Midgar.
There's
Yeah,
no D at the
G-A-R.
end for some reason.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
Right. Everybody on the internet just facepalmed. right
You're
now.
blowing up the power plants. You're doing all that cool stuff. You go down to the slums. The game's awesome. You go to the marsh and you fight that serpent. And then you go to Juneau.
Yep.
And then you do some more stuff. I'm going to skip ahead now. And then you're trying to escape from whoever on your little plane that you just got. And it crashes down in the ocean. And then, you know where I went right then? Yuffie's hometown.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Wu-Tai.
Wu-Tai.
And had all my materia stolen and was too low level to fight the boss to get it back. And I got really frustrated and stopped playing.
Again, Mark hates challenge.
I'm gonna tell you something funny about that though. That part is optional.
Yeah.
I know. But I had already gone to it and I didn't have a save to go back to.
No, Wu-Tai, yeah, that's...
And so I've tried playing it again multiple times, but I'm kind of in that situation where you've played the beginning so many times now
It's
that
boring.
you hate it and you don't want to do it. So there you have it. Final Fantasy VII.
I'm literally in the middle of typing him hate mail right now.
Right now.
Yep.
I was staring at him with the evilest of eyes. But it's okay. I mean, hey, we'll get... JJ doesn't have Half-Life. I don't have... You know what? Actually, mine's pretty much legit because I'm a winner.
Yeah, Brian's the only winner here.
Yeah, because there's not... I mean, I have like a real legitimate... There's no game on here that's like a must-play game that I haven't played yet.
I just emailed him.
Good. I hope it's like got a lot of words.
It's like 4 sentences long, but you know what? I said all I need to say.
Good.
Okay, number 1. My number 1 that I would like to finish is the Breath of Fire series. I own every game in the entire series except for one.
Nice.
Wow. Ooh.
And
Which one is that?
The newest one.
The one that just came out for the DS?
Was that 5?
Breath of
5.
Fire 5?
Dragon Quarter, I think
Okay.
it's called.
Oh.
The latest one.
Is that on the DS?
No. It's on
what's it?
PlayStation. PlayStation 2. Maybe PlayStation 2.
PS2?
Either way.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay.
I haven't beaten any of them. Like, I've played them all. I love them. Haven't beaten a single one.
Why?
3 and 4 were awesome.
I don't know. Like, I think they're awesome. I just get to a point and I'm like,
I'm going to play something else.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. Like, these are also games where, the difficulty curve on these games is actually pretty good. You would probably like these because they're very challenging.
Yeah.
There's nothing easy about any of them. Well, depending on who you ask, there's always going to be those people out there. Oh, game's easy.
Oh, that's easy. I'm a
You
winner.
know.
Kind of like how I was bragging about my Shadows of the Colossus professional.
Yeah, but you're not a jerky jerk about it.
No,
There's
'cause-
people who are just like, you must suck if you can't beat it.
Right.
Although the email that I just sent Mark said he sucked because he hasn't beaten Final Fantasy
Oh!
VII. But no, I mean, I would love to just beat these games. Like I said, I own them all. So
It's always tough when you own them and you haven't beat them.
It's frustrating, and I've played through them all. So I just get to a point where I'm just like, cool, I'm done for today. I'll be back at this again tomorrow. And then I don't. And I don't know why. I mean, everybody has that moment as a gamer where you are playing through a game and you're really into it, and then you just stop for no reason at all.
Yeah, you have no explanation of why.
It just something new comes along,
Sure.
or you just feel like playing something else or whatever,
Absolutely.
and you just you keep putting that one on the back burner. And for some reason, this happens with every single Breath of Fire game that I've played. So I mean, I feel bad for the series because it's so great, but I just got Breath of Fire 2 again on my virtual console for my Wii U since it was only $1.50. So chances are I'll play it.
I just imagine JJ getting part way through number 1. He's like, I don't want to play number 1 anymore. Puts in 2 for some random reason. I'm going to go to 3. I'm going to go to 4.
Man. So yeah, that's my number 1, the
Right on.
Breath of Fire series.
There you go. Okay, my number 1, and I'm just going to point out that out of all of my games I listed, only one of them I actually own, so I have legit excuses for this, just to rub it into JJ. The only game I actually own is Final Fantasy IX, but my number 1 is The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
The only reason that I would get frustrated at your list is because you don't have Final Fantasy VI on it.
Here's the reason I don't have 6
Oh
on it.
yeah, that's true. That's
Right?
not acceptable.
Right?
Let me take a short little sidebar and explain. All these games I've actually played and or watched somebody play, and they look very interesting. I have never seen. I mean, I think I saw my brother play Final Fantasy VI for like 10 seconds.
Opera House.
I saw the Opera House. I have no idea what's going on, right? So,
Well, you said he came downstairs and
I
just
mean,
said
I've heard
Opera
you guys
House.
all say it's great, but I didn't put it on my list because I never actually played it myself.
That's understandable. Okay.
And I haven't really tasted it. And the thing with Final Fantasy games
Tastes so good.
are all different. Like the same way with Skyward Sword, I've never played it, but I know Zelda games. Zelda is also Kingdom Hearts and Zelda are like tied for my top. I think they're like probably number 2 on my favorite franchise list. I put them at tied. And here's the problem with Skyward Sword is I darn hate the Wii. I hate that system with a passion of 1,000 suns. I don't know why. Just the GameCube was okay, but then the Wii came out, and I was like, ugh. Like, here's my thing with systems. If you're going to come out, at least be close to current gen. Don't just go, we're going to have motion controls, but we're not going to improve on our hardware at all.
It's sold.
Like, that's terrible. Skyward Sword looks brilliant, by the way. It looks beautiful, but I don't want to go out and buy a Wii. So my plan is I get a Wii U, and then I'll play it. But I've been wanting to play Skyward Sword since it came out because Zelda... I have played every Zelda game except for a few of the handhelds, and I love every single one of them. Wind Waker being one of my tops. I'd say I put Wind Waker and like Link to the Past and Ocarina of Time all up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I feel like Skyward Sword will be up there too because it's like the origin of everything. But I just
want to make a deal.
Yeah.
You beat Shadows of the Colossus for me, and then I'll let you beat Skyward Sword for me.
Nice. I'll do that.
Deal?
Wait a minute.
So I'm playing 2 games for the price of one?
Wait a minute.
That didn't make any sense.
And then I'll be Brian, and I'll watch him play games.
Yeah. I'm signing up.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, Skyward Sword, I gotta play it, man. I have the itch, but I'm not gonna shell out money to buy a stupid system that and honestly, I think the Wii U is pretty sweet. HD games are cool, but I have to buy that. My brother keeps bothering me. Why aren't you getting a Wii U? Well, they need to come out with a game that I want to buy the system for. There's not a single game on that system that I would buy that system for right now.
What about Pikmin?
No. Sorry, that's not a system seller. It might be a great game, but it's a system seller game to me is like a game. It's like when X comes out, I'll buy the system for X. But until then, I'll probably wait on the Wii U until something comes out that I absolutely must play. So that's why I haven't played Skyward Sword. It's not for lack of... I mean, I've been kind of like dying inside every day. I haven't played Skyward Sword, but, I'm a shell of my former self.
All right.
Okay.
Mark, number 1.
My number 1 is Battletoads.
Battletoads.
That's a blast from the past right there.
That is just shot me right in the face with that past blast.
The end.
What? What?
I said it shot me right in the face with that past blast.
You don't...
Yep.
Wow. Battletoads, Mark.
Battletoads is Battletoads. That's why I haven't beaten it.
It's the most ridiculously hard game I've ever played.
Yep.
Man.
It's cool, though. You're a Battletoad.
But why is it not at your number 1,
You can pick up your teammate and throw him at the guy.
Explain why
it's
that
unbeatable, but if I could beat it, I'd have ultimate nerd cred.
Okay, but let's go back. You have said in like all 5 of your top
and it's
5,
hard. It's hard.
But you don't
That's
like
why.
challenge. So, but you're going to pick the most challenging game.
Well, it's not the most challenging.
Well,
I think that's why he picked it, is because he wants to overcome that.
wants
I want to overcome my shortcomings.
Okay. Hey, there you
It's
go.
like how you have to play games instead of watching.
Right. That's one of the hardest things to do.
Playing games. Oh, man. All right. Emails.
Woo!
By the way, that's our top 5. So we're done. We're done with our top 5. Those are our top 5 games we wish we could finish.
Top 5 wish you finish.
And obviously that's a list that'll change in the future,
Of course.
provided we finish, one of these, or
if the wish we finish is finished.
run into something else that we want to finish as well. So emails is next on the list, and we don't have any emails that I got through the email address, but there was something that I wanted to talk about real quick. Matt on our Facebook says, Frozen North, favorite Mega Man character, go. I answered this. You guys did not.
Yes, I did.
Mega
I
Man.
don't think you
Yeah,
did.
look at... yeah. I was
going to answer it.
Oh, you did it under Frozen North, that's why.
Yeah, because I was on my phone.
I was
Gotcha.
literally about to answer it
What'd you
before
say?
I came over here
Well,
with Mega Man.
Are you just saying that
But,
because that's the only character you know?
It's my favorite. Just
believe
Mega
I'm-
Man.
I believe on Facebook.
He can have all the powers.
I believe on my Facebook. I put
He's Peter Petrelli.
That doesn't answer the question.
Sorry
Mark.
for that reference.
Doesn't answer the question.
I believe on.
I mean, I'm not going to say zero because everyone wants to say zero.
No, not me. Look at my list. Vile, number 1. He was a sweet bad guy. Vile was. I got Boomer Kuwanger because first of all, his name is sweet.
I said zero.
Boomer Kuwanger.
Yep.
I did. I did. I said zero.
And then, there was Sawman. There's so many. Like
Sawman's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like
there were
Sawman.
so many. Blade Man, I believe his name was actually Blade Man. Blade Man. He's a Blade Man. He's got the blades in his hand.
Roll's
That's his
pretty
name.
good.
Crashman was
Dog is
Crash
good.
Man.
was my guy that I said for villain. So,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, Mega Man's got so
Mega
many
Man.
just
Oh,
cool.
dude, you could go through a list like ridiculous.
What's the new one that's coming out? Mighty Number
9?
Well, it's not it's not actually a Mega Man.
No,
game.
I know that, but
Okay.
it's like made by the same. It's
Core
made in the
group.
same style.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't wait for that. I'll definitely give that a look.
Dun-dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun,
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Just Mega Man. You know what that was, right, JJ?
Yeah,
When you pick the
yeah, I
boss
do.
and-
Oh no, I do. I definitely do.
Yeah.
I just, eh.
That's just nostalgia.
Bi-weekly question.
Let's
Moving on.
bi-weekly that.
So last week we asked, what is it that hooks you into game? Is it story, gameplay, characters, or something else? We actually got quite a few responses on this one. Let's see here. I'll read a couple of them off the top. Kyle says story would be first. He also really enjoys a good soundtrack. I couldn't agree more. Stitch, our buddy Stitch from a couple episodes ago that was on the show, he says, I believe that gameplay is most important. A game can have a weak story, but solid gameplay and still be good. But a solid story with bad gameplay will affect the story because you won't complete the game. I wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah, I'm going to go
with
ahead and say that this opinion's wrong.
I mean, Stitch, I'm sorry, buddy, but I mean, if I play a game that has good gameplay, and I was talking to Brian about this before, I think this is a big reason why I'm not a big fan of indie games myself, is because the gameplay is always, not always, but I mean, a lot of times phenomenal, but there's not that deep, like, immersion that I get from a lot of AAA titles, and I mean, that sounds pretty shallow of me to say it like that, but I mean, I want to be grabbed right at the beginning, and I don't want to be let go till the end, and that doesn't happen with a lot of indie games. But the gameplay and everything like that usually is very, very solid on these games because that's, what they focus on. And I know Stitch likes a lot of 2D platformers and stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of those games, and that's all that is. It's just gameplay. There's really usually not stories to those.
Like
so,
his Rayman Legends and
Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, Super Meat Boy. Woo! You got to run around.
But I mean, people like
Yeah,
solving puzzles and
true.
Doing that kind of stuff, and that is a good example where gameplay is what they focus on, and it shows absolutely.
Sure.
But running from point A to point B and being able to do a triple jump while shooting a gun backwards is awesome. But if I don't have a reason to do it, what's the point? I do it once and then I'm done playing the game.
Right.
There's no point for me to keep going.
Well, I mean, what are we? We're the Frozen North. We're the podcast based on story-based gaming, right?
Yeah, I think
we're biased to that, but my argument to counter Stitch's argument would be that if the game has really awesome gameplay but a terrible story, why are you playing the game? Like, what do you play games for?
Yep.
Like, if you're like, I'm into competitive gaming, okay, boom, I get it. You're looking for a balanced game with solid gameplay because you're a competitor. But if you're playing a game for entertainment value and it's got crap story but sweet gameplay, then I feel like, why are you playing the game?
It's essentially saying you like one book over another because you like that they printed in Times New Roman rather than Arial.
Yeah, right.
That might be a little bit of a stretch.
Now,
if there was a game that had really atrocious gameplay,
now
I think it could stop me from
Oh,
playing
absolutely.
it. Even with a great
Because let me
plot.
say,
if it's unplayable,
if the
it's
story's
unplayable.
if the story's like Oscar worthy, but the gameplay is so atrocious that I get really frustrated, I don't even care how good the story is. I'm going to stop playing your game.
Yeah.
I understand.
So
I agree.
I don't weigh story above everything else, but story is definitely more important to me than gameplay. If you were to put it on a weight scale.
All right, so we got Amber who says she likes the soundtracks.
Music, definitely.
And then we've got, let's see, Steven says atmosphere and setting, gameplay and music. A lot of people said music, actually.
I can see that. I mean, I'd say music's a subset of atmosphere,
Yeah.
just kind of setting up the mood.
Matt says, I like characters that I feel I can share likeness with. I don't get nearly into games like Skyrim, but Mass Effect, for example, I get really into. I agree immensely with that. I love when I can relate to a character that's in the game.
I think that's maybe why you shy away from first-person shooters, too, because you're not really... Well, like Skyrim, you don't really have your character doesn't really have a whole lot of development because you're
making all the choices and you're doing all the stuff.
So you don't really go, oh, I can't relate to him because like you are. Really,
Which I mean, that goes to our last discussion. That's why I like JRPGs better.
Right.
So,
have you? I think you've addressed this, but have you played BioShock Infinite?
Nope.
JJ, you need to play it.
Absolutely.
I know. That's another one where I don't want to play it till I play the others. So
that's understandable.
It really doesn't have anything to do with the others, but I can see you getting ramped up for it.
Yep. And Amber and Kyle both say voice acting as well.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Kyle says good voice acting is also a plus. 2 of my favorite games, Xenoblade and Final Fantasy Tactics, had a great story, great music, and really good voice acting. Kyle, I'm sorry, man. Xenoblade. It's not that great, honestly. I don't know if I agree with that assessment.
Kyle's so pissed at you right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
Kyle's my brother, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you like listening to those kind of voices while you're sitting there and Brian's watching you play games, but no, I don't even remember Final Fantasy Tactics having voice acting.
It did.
When?
It must have been a remake. It was not in the original.
It was the one that they remade for
That's why I don't remember it.
the virtual. It's like on Sony's network.
They have voice acting in that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They redo it? Because the original for PlayStation did not.
He only play. I only heard. I did not actually watch him play this one, but he showed me a few of the cutscenes, and they did.
Cool. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's good to know. Great game, by the way. Tactics is awesome.
He loved it.
So, all right. As far as me personally, like I said, I totally agree. I have to have a good story, and I have to be able to relate to one of the characters, and obviously setting, like theme, music, all that stuff. I think everybody would agree that a combination of everything is the best.
Yes.
But I will take story and setting over gameplay.
You can weight
personally.
them differently, right?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because everyone wants all of them to be great all the time, but we're not in a perfect world, so you have to give up a little bit to get a little bit more in this section. So.
Yep.
I think JJ, you really keyed in on something earlier that for me is, I hate to say it again, but really key. And that's the opening of a game. I feel like the opening of a game really needs to present its value proposition to me.
Yep.
As fast as possible. Tell me what I'm going to be doing for the next 20 hours and why I should care. And if it doesn't do that, it's really falling flat for me. Usually.
I mean, it doesn't even have to tell you what you're going to be doing for the next 20 hours. Like, okay, I mean, perfect example, a game that you didn't finish before, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
The opening of that game has virtually nothing to do with the rest of the game at all. I mean, you're doing something completely different, but it does jump right into the action and the characters and what's going on.
Absolutely.
It opens up into something greater.
Exactly. You start out and it tells me there's going to be amazing characters and a really incredible plot from start to finish. And
exactly.
That locks me into the game and makes me want to keep playing. And like another good example is Half-Life 2. Drops you directly into an Orwellian dystopia and introduces some, well, not for you, but for me and Brian, some familiar characters that we were probably delighted to see. Apparently not. You weren't delighted to see when you first saw Kleiner, when you first saw Barney?
Yeah, well,
I mean, they didn't technically exist in the first one, but they kind of.
They were there.
Did.
No,
what game are you talking about?
Half-Life. Half-Life 2.
Pose that question to me again, because that came off weird. Are you talking about when you saw, like...
I said, I like the way Half-Life 2
drops you in.
Are you reading a
script?
I like the way it drops you into a dystopian future. The way it brings... I'm not reading a script. I have notes.
Yeah, you just put the paper down.
So you like...
I can still talk without paper.
You like the air of mystery in Half-Life 2, where you're like...
No, I was saying... Immediately it tells me you're going to be in this world where things are clearly messed up and you're probably going to be the one fighting to fix it. And then...
Oh, so you know...
Then it's the boxing metaphor.
1-2 punch?
The 1-2 punch of the...
he raised his fists,
characters.
and that's what made me think of that.
The familiar characters, Kleiner and...
Right. The ones, I mean, they were in Half-Life 1, but that was very, very brief. But you were like, oh, I'm in the same universe.
Right.
I get what you're saying. You like the game to be like, here's the selling point. This is the game.
Yes.
You keep going like this.
Oh, well, I'm not perfect.
You're good. Well, I disagree.
No, I agree, Mark.
Like for me, Kingdom Hearts didn't have the best intro because it was just me running around on some little island doing a fetch quest.
Right.
Yeah. You really. That's one that didn't grab me from the very start either.
Right.
Yep.
Well, you know what? I take that back. It did to me because there were Final Fantasy characters in there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm such a huge fan. It's really, I mean, if you're into that, just seeing those references is going to pull you in. But as far I completely understand where you're coming from. Somebody who's just like, I like the Final Fantasy games, but not a diehard fan. And if you jump into a game like Kingdom Hearts,
right,
you just want to play the game. You don't need to see just the little Easter eggs and that kind of stuff. Okay, cool. Well, anybody have anything else to add?
Well, yeah, I was going to tell you what hooks me into games.
We've just been talking about. God, Brian, you ruined everything. God.
You guys never came to me, so I just want to finish this one.
Well, you did what you always do. You just agree with what we say.
No,
I thought we were going to
just
stick with that.
I disagree.
Whoa!
Disagree with both of you.
Well,
I don't really
offended now.
care about the opening because, I mean, yeah, it's awesome when a game has an awesome opening, but I don't judge a game by the opening, so I'm not like I weight that lower.
Well, we don't either. We just want to,
but it doesn't just
have a reason to keep playing.
but what I'm saying I weight more is I'm going to say visuals rather than graphics and story are my two highest. I say visuals because it's not about like, oh man, this looks photorealistic. It's about art style.
Yeah,
like because there are old games that have like ridiculously awesome art style that still hold up to this day. And so visual, like if a game's like super catches my eye and I'm like, oh man, I love the art style of this game, I will forgive a somewhat lackluster beginning, and if the story's starting to get good, I'll be like, oh sweet, and music goes into that, so atmosphere basically.
Yeah, I will always try to see out a game. It's just it makes it a lot easier when it starts out great.
I understand what you guys are saying, but that's basically mine. I just weight visuals and story higher than everything else.
I mean, it's essentially what Mark and I are talking about. It's essentially the difference. Like, we're still going to play it, if we are somewhat interested, but it's essentially the difference between playing for 1 hour at a time and playing for 4 to 5 hours at a time.
Right. It's not going to hook you as quickly.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anybody else have anything to add?
I disagree with you both. See, I can disagree.
Oh,
you say you disagree, but like every other word out of your mouth was right. Yeah, totally.
Oh,
right.
I'm setting you guys up for like a big drop. Like I'm gonna be like, yeah, right.
He's lulling us into a false sense of security.
And you guys will be like, I'm right.
I'm
like, you're
lulling
wrong.
at him too. Heyo.
You heard it here first, folks.
All right, our bi-weekly question for next episode, which I will go ahead and post on Facebook once I get this episode uploaded. Do you feel that games like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty deserve negative press for certain instances where someone commits an act of violence or breaks the law in real life? Meaning, like, that instance a few years ago where, so I forget what country it was, but overseas there was a kid who wanted to play World of Warcraft and he needed the money to play it. So he ended up actually killing his neighbor so he could get the money, like, and robbing her so he could get the money to play.
I was going to say.
Do you think it's fair to blame violence in video games for that kind of behavior? Or do you think it's, the parent's responsibility? Or, what? How do you feel about that? So we'll talk about that next episode. Other than that, I think that pretty much wraps us up. Right. You guys have anything else to add so far?
I'd just like to thank both my friends here, Mark and JJ, for an excellent podcast as usual.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
He's only saying that because 2 seconds ago he's like, "Oh, I disagree."
He already feels bad.
I don't feel bad. I'm feeling pretty good. You guys have some good points that I agree with.
Thank you. And I would just like to say, please come over and beat Shadow of the Colossus for me.
Oh, dude, you'll watch me play it, and you'll be like, dude, you are a master of the grip meter. And
Will I ask for your signature?
No, you'll say this. You'll say this. You'll go, Brian, you are a master of the grip meter, and I will stand up, and then I will bow, and then I will shove my sword into the Colossus, and he will die, and then I'll like, shh.
You'll literally do what happens to the character? The shadow will go inside of you and
Please let us know what you think about the show. Email us at frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook. That's where all of our discussion is, at facebook.com/thefrozennorth. We got a Twitter account. Please give us a follow at FN Podcast. And subscribe to us and rate us on iTunes. Please leave us reviews. Give us, the more stars, the better. But if you feel like we deserve less than that, just tell us why. That's all we ask. The more
Don't
feedback,
rate it, but tell us why. Email us, and we'll fix it, and then you give us a 5-star.
The more feedback we get, the better. You can tell the small things that we've changed from episode 1 to episode 8 now, and I mean, I'm always looking to improve it. So please, if there's other things that you think we should change, please let me know, because I do take every single opinion seriously, and I do take it all into account. And I'm always looking for I'm always looking for ways to improve the show. Join us again in 2 weeks for episode 9, where we are going to be discussing our top 5 gateway games. So with that, I think
see you guys next time.
Yep. See, it's time for a phone break.
Ring-a-ling-ding-ding.
Good time. All right. Thanks again for listening, and keep on gaming.
This song was made available via the Creative Commons Attribution License. The song, Somewhere in the Stars, was written and produced by SoundCloud user _TWC.